we can have your attention, please. We're going to get started. Thanks, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate that. We're going to call the meeting to order. Our first order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. If I could ask all of y'all to join. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, very much. Renee, if you'd call the roll, please.
Good evening, Renee Manita for the record. I'm here to do the roll call. Karen Andrus.
Present.
Carl Baracco. Absent. Derek Butana. Absent. Joseph Cruz. Absent. Ron Inge.
Present.
Christy Knight. Absent. Matt Lincolnhall.
Present.
John Paul.
Here.
Christopher Robin.
Here.
Nathan Shaw.
Present.
Sawyer Smith. Absent. Shane Spring.
Here.
Andrew Sund.
Here.
And Bridget Throw is absent. That's a quorum.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Next item of business is approval of the minutes from the April 16th meeting. Has the committee had a chance to review those? And if so, do we have a motion for approval?
Move to approve minutes.
That's a motion by Mr. Sund. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Shaw. We have a motion and a second. Any opposition? That carries unanimously. As a matter of procedure, members, if you make a motion or second it, please say your name so the clerk's office can hear that, because they can't see who says it, and I might not call the name myself. So if you would, just so we can make sure we get it properly on the minutes. Thank you very much. Next item is we have a staff negotiated purchase agreement. It's nomination 232-2 in the Crew Trust, 15.55 acres with a score of 79. Mr. Clemens, will you present that?
Yes, this is an infill crew parcel of about 15.5 acres. The purchase price is at the appraised value. Staff recommends to proceed with forwarding this to the board for acquisition. The property owner will pay all costs except the county will pay for the title policy, survey if we choose to get one, a phase one audit. One of the expenses the seller will pay is the phase 2 audit, should it be necessary to go to that condition if some item of concern was found.
Thank you, sir. Questions, Ms. Sanders?
I'd just like to make a motion.
Before we do, as a matter, again, of procedure, before we make any motions and take any action, let's attend to public comments and see if there are any before we come back to the board. So for the public's purposes, item number 232-2, it's a purchase agreement, negotiated purchase agreement of 15.55 acres in the Crew Trust. Would anyone care to address the committee? If so, please come forward and state your name, and you're limited to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll come back to the board. Ms. Andrus.
I'd like to make a motion to move forward nomination 3232. We've been working with Crew for a long time, trying to piece it all together, and this piece is a great piece to put forward.
All right, we have a motion. I think your motion was, instead of 3232, it's 232-2.
Sorry.
Okay, just to correct that. We have a motion. We have a second. Thank you, Mr. Boyd. We have a motion and a second. Any comments from the committee? Any opposition? That carries unanimously, so that we have to record the vote on how each member voted. It's a unanimous vote of approval. Thanks, everyone. We have some acquisition reviews for the staff to acquaint us with. 4 items here. We'll start out as they are listed on the agenda. I have a number of cards, but that does not preclude anyone else that wishes to speak after those cards are called from so speaking. So we'll go down each one of them at a time. Some folks wrote 2 numbers on their card. I'll try to remember to call you when the next item comes up, but if I forget, raise your hand or something, and we'll make sure you get heard. So the first one is nomination 656, Pine Island, 27.9 acres, with a score of 47. Mr. Clemens, please give us the details of this, if you would, sir.
If I may combine 656 and 657 together, they're contiguous parcels, and the scoring is the same, just not to be repetitive.
All right, given that, members of the public, the staff has asked if we could consider 656 and 657 together. So the cards I have, and anyone that wishes to speak, you can combine your comments on each parcel or speak separately on them if you wish, but please limit your comments to 3 minutes. So Mr. Clemens, please go forward.
As can be seen on the map up here, this parcel has uplands and wetland characteristics. It's close to existing county preserve and state preserve. It scored 47 points, and staff recommends to forward this to the board for acquisition consideration.
Do we have any questions or comments of Mr. Clemens? And that was 656?
That's both
Both of them at the
656
same number.
and
Okay.
657.
656 and 657. Any questions from the board before we go to public comment? Seeing none. We have a number of cards here. I'll call them in the order I've received them, but again, that does not preclude anyone else from speaking after these called cards if you wish. The first is Christine Blum. Please come forward, state your name for the record, and you have 3 minutes down there at the end. Yes, ma'am. Oh, no, not to worry. And adjust the mic so you can, we can hear you adequately. Yes.
No, I won't. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to start out by saying thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to share our comments. My name is Christine Bloom. I've actually been on Pine Island in Bokeelia for 34 years. Very happy in our rural community. And whenever we have information or opportunities like this to voice both positive, negative, we very much appreciate it. And I just wanted to give a few points from not only as a private citizen, but also on behalf of one of our civic associations, Greater Pine Island Civic Association. We are advocates for the island of keeping it a rural community. And everyone that we ask that are new, we ask them what's the main reason you move here, because of the much nature that's there. It's laid back, all those reasons. And when something like this comes up, it just reinforces the reason for living there. And going beyond the island as part of the Lee County overall initiatives to keep preserves, this is an excellent opportunity. Just in case anyone's not aware, but just to the north of these parcels, there's a brand new fish farm that's being installed right now. They're clearing the land, and that is something where they're going to be raising, I think it's a redfish, the eggs, and then releasing them into the wild. So it's not something that's going to be, it's another part of the preserve. And just to the south is a shrimp farm that's been there for a while. So this is actually a perfect spot for this type of a preserve, not only for that reason, but from just the way the land is. And it has just a few points that it's mostly slash and longleaf pines and palmettos on there, mostly native plants, in fact, the pawpaw shrub as well. And we're very conscious of our gopher tortoise and also the bald eagles, and they are prevalent on both of these parcels. So really my voice is just to say we very much appreciate the consideration and encourage you to put this forward to the board for acquisition. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. My apologies for mispronouncing your last name as well. Cheryl King, please.
Good evening, Committee Chairman Inge, board members, property owners Schiffman, Ing, Ziegler, and Bryan. My name is Cheryl King. I'm currently the president of Calusa Land Trust, and I'm also here to represent Robert Ballard, our past president, who's worked diligently for 8 years on this process. He's now our chief land steward of Calusa Land Trust. Calusa Land Trust was established in 1976. We're an all-volunteer land conservation enthusiasts. We acquire, manage, and preserve environmentally sensitive and historically significant land. We currently own 2,417 acres of land, including 6 preserves managed through mostly our work parties, monthly work parties. This parcel is one of the largest parcels left of native Pine Island landscape that deserves to be saved from future development. It fits right in with our mission to maintain it to perpetuity for future generations to honor and uphold its native habitat and its potential for recreation and ecotourism. We envision hiking and nature studies, photography, bird watching, and story trails. Calusa Land Trust has just approved in our budget to have our first story trail up in our Weigert Barren Preserve, which will be opened on Gopher Tortoise Day, featuring Gus the Gopher Tortoise. So we'll become story trail experts. As I did the property observation walkthrough with your team back in August 2024, it was brought to my attention that there's greater than or equal to 75% native plants. And that's unbelievable. We found the elusive pawpaw plant on that walkthrough that we did, and so much more. It was like God's kingdom back there when you got through all those cabbage palms and you got scratched up and clawed up. It just opened up into this canopy that was just amazing. I might add that there are very few invasive plants back there and or invasive trees on the property. This property would extend the wildlife corridor that already exists between Buttonwood Preserve to the east and across Stringfellow all the way to the west of the island. It provides a suitable habitat for a wide variety of species, as it has wetlands, grasses, and ponds. The presence of bald eagles, gopher tortoises, and so many more have already made this their home. In managing this land, it's noted that 75% or greater of the perimeter surrounding is low-impact land use. She mentioned the shrimp farm to the south, the new redfish farm to the north. It's full of salt marshes that would protect the area from coastal flooding by absorbing the influx of water damage. In conclusion, let me finish by saying that the Calusa Land Trust Board has approved $5,000 towards the purchase price and another $75,000 to Parks and Recreation for the development and maintenance of this property. I thank you very much for considering this property to be in our hands for future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. I'd like to call to the podium, or to the dais, Judy Ott.
Good evening. Can you hear me now? Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to share our support for these 2 nominations, and we were really happy to hear that. You can't hear me?
State your name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Judy Ott. I'm a longtime member of the Calusa Land Trust Board of Directors, a very long-time Pine Island resident, a retired Charlotte Harbor estuary scientist, and I currently have a small business on Pine Island called Estuary Escapes. And I'm here in support of these 2 nominations together. So thank you for addressing them together. I visited the parcels twice, in February 2020 with Calusa Land Trust members and in August 2024 with Lee County staff. And I fully concur with the comments that our President Cheryl King made about why the Calusa Land Trust supports this parcel. It really furthers our mission directly, and because we did our own evaluation matrix like you guys do, and it came out really high on that, that's what motivated the Calusa Land Trust to sponsor support this acquisition with $80,000. It's just perfect for what we're doing. I have 8 points to share, and I'm just going to read through them if you don't mind, just to be time efficient, okay? Is that all right? So I can do this in 3 minutes. First, these parcels include a very unique diversity of healthy uplands and wetland habitats. These diverse habitats follow the subtle elevation transitions from our Pine Island Ridge down to the salt marshes on Pine Island Sound. And it's the elevation transitions that create this rare mosaic of habitats that are rapidly disappearing in Lee County and throughout Florida. And if these are lost, they won't be replaceable. Second, these diverse habitats support special species, including endangered beautiful pawpaw and threatened gopher tortoises, as well as provide a nursery for our sport fisheries along the salt flats. Third, the two nominations together serve as a critical wildlife corridor throughout Pine Island. They link conservation lands from Conservation 2020, Calusa Land Trust, and the state throughout different regions of the island, and they are likely used by our transient bear that passes through there occasionally and our local coyotes and bobcats. Fourth, preserving these unique habitats near Pine Island Center would increase nature-based activities and adjacent property values on the island, as well as tourism dollars for Lee County. And so protecting these lands will increase those tourism dollars. Fifth, preserving the lands will reduce our future expenditures for infrastructure for those areas, and preserving these natural habitats will help reduce public health and safety comments and hurricane recovery costs. And seventh, this large tract of natural lands at the heart of Pine Island promotes immeasurable aesthetic values and community cohesiveness to our island. And so we hope that, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ott. Next is Joan Rosenberg. That's the last card I have, so if anyone else would care to speak, go ahead and kind of keep that in mind.
Good evening. My name is Joan Rosenberg. I'm the treasurer of the Calusa Land Trust and have been for about 12 years. I'm not quite on Pine Island 34 years as one of our speakers, but I am here 32 years. We originally had a house in Boca Raton, which is beautiful, but we bought a little canal cottage in '92. We were here 3 weekends in August, and we said, oh no, this is where we're going to live, on Pine Island. And this acreage is the epitome of why we wanted to live here. It's unspoiled. I haven't personally walked on it, but I've seen the photos, and they're filled with all of the trees that we love so much. So this is why we've been working as volunteers with the Land Trust. All of us are volunteers at this point, and we want to keep this green land the way that all of the people who come after us can enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are the only cards we have on nominations 656 and 657. Would anyone care to address the committee? If so, please come forward, state your name. You have 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll go to the board. Any questions or comments of staff or any thoughts? Our action today is to consider moving these forward to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners that they forward them for acquisition review. Karen?
I'd like to make a motion to move these two parcels forward. Nominations 656 and 657. And it's great that we could have that much acreage on Pine Island to save.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Spring. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any opposition? That carries unanimously. Thank you very much. The next item is nomination 666, Sentinel Island, 34.93 acres, Sanibel Community Church. I have a potential conflict of interest in that I do consulting work for the firm that represents this property, and so I have asked Mr. Spring. Mr. Baracco wasn't sure you were going to be here. I've asked Mr. Spring if he could chair the meeting for purposes of this item, so I won't participate in the discussion nor the vote. Mr. Spring.
Oh, you want them better? I tried. Mr. Clemens, would you like to speak about nomination 666?
Yes, parcel 666 is on Sanibel. It's near the entry from the causeway. It's about a 36 acre tract of land. The upland wetland ratio on this is about 4.5 acres of upland area and about 31 plus or minus acres of wetland area. Due to the nature of this parcel and the asking price, staff is recommending not to forward this for acquisition purposes. The asking price is $4.8 million. The bulk of this site would effectively, if it were to be built, we feel would be preserved as part of any development order. Also, I think when staff reviewed this parcel, they found that there were a lot of disturbances to the mangrove area with, I believe it was buttonwood that was the invasive plant. And for these reasons, staff is recommending not to go forward, or not to forward this for acquisition consideration.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions of staff before we go to public comment? Seeing none. Okay, first person up is Justin DeVoe. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Hello, board. Thanks for your time. I'm Justin DeVoe. I represent the property owner, Sanibel Community Church. Quickly, I must address how unfortunate our nomination number is. Hopefully, if this does progress, we can adjust that. What you have in front of you is an opportunity you won't see again. Nearly 35 acres on Sanibel that can be purchased for perpetual conservation. This is the largest privately held property left on Sanibel Island. We have had some communication back and forth with the county. We do disagree on some of the scoring mechanisms and whatnot that were provided in the original assessment of the property. I also need to kind of walk through where we are on a map. So this is right at the gateway to the entrance of Sanibel. This comes right over the causeway, right behind the Dairy Queen that many of us remember being there, including me as a child. The ecological benefit is there. You heard the mention of wetland quality. The property was damaged during Hurricane Ian, like most properties on Sanibel Island. However, the underlying soil conditions and hydrology remain the same. You can see, looking at an aerial, what this historical flowway and wetland looked like. As far as pricing and recommendations from the staff, I think it would be irresponsible not to consider pushing this forward. Reasons being quite vast. Also that there is a high likelihood of development of this parcel. It's been laid out for a 24-unit single-family residential subdivision. However, being that our firm looks at thousands of properties like this, it is my professional opinion that the highest and best use for this would be ecological preservation, most likely some recreational uses as well, given the proximity. So we think this would be a home run for the island, for the county, and the surrounding area in general, if this was purchased for this reason. So very much support you looking into this a little bit further, and I'd love to see a recommendation to move this forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Mike Miller. Then on deck is Donna Aldridge.
Good evening, committee members. My name is Mike Miller. I'm mayor of Sanibel, and I'm here this evening to express the support of the city of Sanibel for the proposed acquisition of this property consisting of 34.93 acres located just off Bailey Road on Sanibel. Generically, this property is considered wetlands. Under our comprehensive land use plan, about 7 acres is considered upland wetlands. About 29 acres is considered lowland wetlands. Both categories of wetlands are characterized by experiencing occasional rainwater inundation, but in particular, the lowland wetlands is identified as experiencing extended periods of inundation during the year. And as we experience more and more storms, I think this will only get worse. In short, although development of this land is legally possible, it will be very difficult to achieve that in an appropriate, environmentally sensitive manner. Thus, the Sanibel community believes that the acquisition by Conservation 2020 would be beneficial to the county in conserving a large area of wetlands and furthering the goal of Sanibel continuing as a thriving island sanctuary with its natural habitat and wildlife. Therefore, on behalf of Sanibel City Council, please support the acquisition of this property, and thank you for allowing me to speak this evening.
Thank you. Don Aldridge and then Chet Sadler is on deck.
So I think I'm the only member of Sanibel Community Church here. Well, maybe one other one. And I just want to thank you for reconsidering this. I heard the turn down, but I think there's some really good reasons, if you'll think about this, to reverse that recommendation. So we're just asking for your consideration. We thank you very much.
Thank you. Chet Sadler and then Robin Miller.
Hi, my name is Chet Sadler, and I'm the today representing the Committee of the Island, or CODI, where I serve on the board. I also have lived on Sanibel for over 30 years. CODI stands in strong support of the nomination of this parcel 666 to the Comprehensive Land Acquisition Steward Advisory Committee. CODI has a 50-year history on Sanibel, advocating for preservation of the unique sanctuary island and small town characteristics for our community. It has founded largely the small town characteristics of our community. The vision of the community is laid out in the city's comprehensive use plan, the Sanibel Plan, which states, Sanibel is and shall remain a barrier and sanctuary, one in which a diverse population lives in harmony with the island's wildlife and natural habitat. Using the Lee County Conservation 2020 land acquisition program to purchase the land for the conservation is entirely consistent with the Sanibel Plan vision. Having the community church land protected from development would provide many benefits to the community. Given that the land is next to a resident community, and on one side, and the main thoroughfare through the center of the island, and called Periwinkle, and the entire leaving land conservation will provide important storm water management service. Recent storms have reminded us how important that is. Conservation is this land will also provide several valuable ecosystem functions, such as water filtration, habitat protection, carbon sequestration, that's not good. And in particular, Sanibel, this property is home to a bald eagle that's been there for a number of years. For these reasons, CODI supports the proposed purchase and would also request that the funds allocated include money to remove invasive species to restore the habitat. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin Miller. And then Kirk Williams.
This is terrifying. My name is Robin Miller. I'm a year-round full-time resident of Sanibel. I was devastatingly flooded from Hurricane Ian and flooded again last summer with Debbie, Helene, and Milton. So I care deeply about the future of the island. Hurricane Ian taught us that wild, natural, and green spaces help to protect us from the devastation of storms. I have learned that Sanibel's damage would have been even more catastrophic if the island were more built out. The Sanibel Community Church property off Periwinkle must be saved from development. The conservation of our ecosystems and natural spaces must be the priority to maintain healthy habitat for the island wildlife and to improve Sanibel's resilience. Climate forecasts predict increases of stronger hurricanes, deluge rain, and more flooding. If acquired under 2020 conservation, this 34-acre parcel will provide vital ecosystem and stormwater functions for Sanibel. Please make this acquisition.
Thank you. Kurt Williams, then Lisa Lawler.
Hi, my name is Kirk Williams. I'm a 40-year resident of Sanibel, and my wife and I have lived in the dunes for 27 years. The dunes is the residential area that you see to the north of the subject property, and there are 30 properties in the dunes that abut against the property there. I'm here today representing the Homeowners Association, and we took a poll of the HOA members. There's roughly 360 properties in the community, and we received responses from 215 people. And I'll go ahead and read the letter from the HOA. The Villages of the Dunes Homeowners Association recently conducted a survey of members regarding the proposed 2020 purchase of the Sanibel Community Church property. It was a simple one-question survey which asked members to answer the following questions. Question: we support the 34-acre church parcel by the Lee County Conservation 2020 program, yes or no? The results were overwhelmingly in support of the 2020 purchase. Out of 215 responses received, 207, or 96%, were in favor of the purchase. So you have strong support from the surrounding community there. And I'd also like to point out again that it's 30 properties that border the property, 30 dunes properties that border the subject here of the church property. We received 215 responses, so it's strong support community-wide, not just from the 30 people surrounding the property. As a personal note, my wife and I live right on the top right-hand corner there, and the wildlife on this property was incredible last winter. We had wood storks, eagles, ospreys, you name it, egrets, flamingos. It was really, truly amazing what was out there last winter. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lisa Lawler Williams, then Tina Flannery.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Lawler Williams. I'm his wife, and we do live at that very corner. So as Kirk says, we do see a lot of wildlife right there, and it's amazing. I'm here tonight to read a letter from Sue Paul Tukey. She's a 42-year resident of Sanibel, was unable to be here because of a funeral this evening. She wanted you all, this is her letter, I'll just read it. 20 plus years ago when my church acquired the Peace Harbor property, there was a lot of enthusiasm within the congregation regarding the vision for the property. The intent was to build a structure that would be owned and maintained by the church that would expand their footprint. Now the congregation has changed its intent. We are hopeful that this land gets preserved. As we all know, it is a different world in Southwest Florida post-Ian. We've weathered the storm well, but we have a long way to go. What makes sense for this property for Sanibel and Lee County now? Certainly not new construction. There are many properties on our island that need to be restored before we add to the destruction of that island's natural beauty to build new homes. Do we really want to add to the destruction of what Ian already did? Do we want to add homes to be sold in a market that is already overly saturated? The island is still a big draw for tourism in Lee County. We are getting good press and everyone benefits from that. Look at the causeway, a big milestone in our recovery efforts. I see the preservation of this land as an adjunct to the Causeway Islands. The Peace Harbor property, I believe, should remain just that, peaceful. Our future generations need more calm, not more chaos. We've had enough chaos in Lee County between Ian and now countywide construction, it seems, on almost every corner. Peace Harbor has a beautiful pond apple slough that runs the central portion of the property with an active bald eagle nest, as well as numerous native birds, including roseate spoonbill, great blue heron, and yellow-crowned night herons. It is also a home to native bobcat and otter. If acquired by the county, it could provide a great amenity for Lee County residents and visitors to view wildlife and walk on passive trails. It is a perfect location for easy accessibility to those coming from the mainland. I believe with all my heart that preserving this property is a win-win for all. A sincere thank you for considering the Peace Harbor parcel of land for acquisition by the Conservation 2020 program. Thank you. And that is Sue Paul Tukey.
Thank you. Tina Flannery and then James Evans.
Hi, my name is Tina Flannery. I am also a full-time year-round resident of Sanibel, and I'm not affiliated with any committees or anything like that. I love the island. It's a wildlife sanctuary, and simply I just think that we need more habitat preservation for animals and wildlife and not for people. Everything in a time when there is just so much development everywhere you go. I think it's just so important to preserve what we can. And it's such a beautiful area. And if you've ever walked that trail back there, you would absolutely acquire this land for preservation. It's just beautiful. We have enough buildings, enough homes. The real estate market is already struggling on Sanibel right now since the storm. And I'm sure these would be amazing homes being built, but we have so many amazing homes everywhere. And there's so much habitat loss everywhere. And I just think it just simply makes sense to preserve this land. So thank you.
Thank you. James Evans and Matt DePaul is the last one, so if anybody would like to speak after Matt, please let me know.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I'm James Evans. I'm the CEO of the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation. Our mission is to protect and care for Southwest Florida's coastal ecosystems, and we own and manage about 2,100 acres of land in Southwest Florida, about 1,800 acres of which are on Sanibel Island. This property is contiguous with the city of Sanibel's Causeway Preserve, which is right across, just to the east, right across from Bailey Road there. And then they also have part of Pond Apple Park, which includes the reuse ponds that connects to the city's Schlosser Preserve, and then on to the Bailey Homestead Preserve, which is owned by SCCF. So this is the last large remaining parcel left on Sanibel Island to preserve. And I was a bit disappointed, like Justin, when I read the ranking, because I think it was a bit misleading, and the photos certainly didn't do the property justice either, because there is a beautiful pond apple slough that runs right through the middle of that parcel. You can see even in the photo, you can see there's a series of ridges and swales that run kind of an angle to the property. In fact, I was on the site this morning with one of my colleagues, Matt DePaulis, and Ali Pasenka, which was another one of our staff. And we were ankle deep to knee deep in water, walking through the trail and onto the parcel, the subject parcel here. We saw at least 10 to 13 species of wading birds flying around the site. There's a bald eagle nest that's located at the Dairy Queen area, which is within the buffer zone of this property. And it's a huge opportunity for Lee County for passive recreation. People come to Sanibel to enjoy our good nature, to go bird watching, to see all the incredible wildlife that we have. And this is a great opportunity for Lee County to take advantage of that. And we also, as we were walking through the preserve, I know your criteria and the ranking depicts this as a low diversity site with a lack of wildlife, but the reality is there's a lot of different species on the site. I probably counted, 25 species when I was on the site today, including uplands, open bodies of water, the tropical hardwood hammock, the buttonwood forest, which was, I think it was characterized as a buttonwood forest, but the pond apple slough wasn't characterized in that report either. So again, I think this is a tremendous opportunity. I hope that the committee will move this project forward, and I think it really will continue to support our tourism-based economy. So thank you.
Thank you, James. Matt?
I am Matt DePellis. I'm the Environmental Policy Director for the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation. And I'm going to echo a lot of what James just said. When this property came up in the packet today for the agenda. It was great to see it there, finally moving forward. But I was a little taken aback again by those photos that were presented, because I drive by this on my way to work every day. And so James and I took it upon ourselves to go out and visit the site. And the site was gorgeous. I mean, it was lush. It was holding a ton of water. We saw a ton of birds and animals, native plant species. It was what you would expect a wetland that had gone through a storm a few years ago to be doing. It's a picture of resilience, and that restorative succession that's going on after a storm it was beautiful to be out there. And I think that the opportunity we have before us really is something that needs to be capitalized. I mean, you can the clear color demarcation of that slough that's running between those higher green ridge lines. This is exactly what the island needs for its connectivity, for wildlife habitat, the storage that is being afforded to the island right now by the amount of wetlands that are holding water, that are preventing that water from getting in the streets, getting in people's homes, being displaced elsewhere, really can't be overstated. I think the ecosystem services, in addition with the storm buffering that goes on and the carbon sequestration and all the other great things that people were mentioned, really are providing so much value to the island of Sanibel, to the community that utilizes it, and the county as a whole, that it really needs to be taken into consideration that we're not going to get opportunities like this again. There aren't that many productive wetland opportunities like this. Our colleagues down at the Conservancy of Southwest Florida recently released a report that showed that Lee County has lost 31% of our wetlands in the last 24 years. I mean, think about the staggering amount of wetland loss that we've seen when we're only really starting to understand the importance of those ecosystems that are provided by wetlands when we have them. Every day it seems like another report comes out about the importance of preserving our wetlands, whether it's to the benefits to the built community that surround them or the wildlife community that utilize them for habitat. And I'm running into this issue a lot where in my line of work where people are saying, wow, I really wish I had bought this piece of land to preserve 10 years ago. Can you believe how much the prices have rose? Can you believe what a deal it was 10 years ago when we were considering buying this land? If we had locked it up then, the benefits that we were seeing, the benefits that we would be seeing today. And I'm really worried that if we let something like this escape us now, even with the associated price tag, we're going to be 10 years down the road, our children are going to be looking back and saying, wow, I really wish they had bought that land when they had the opportunity to. So I'm here speaking in full support of this acquisition. I think it's a great benefit to the county, and I hope you'll consider that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Anyone else who wants to speak, please do. But when you get up there, please state your name for the record for the clerk. And you will have 3 minutes to speak. Renee will flag you when you're getting close.
Thank you. I'm Fred Bondurant. I'm also a 28-year resident of the abutted community here in the Dunes. I would just like you to ask you not to just write us off because the asking price is so high, because it's an asking price. And when they start to do the due diligence, and like Dave said, you walk in here and they're up to their ankles already in water, and we're not even halfway through the wet season. This road here is underwater during heavy rains. Price could come down. So stay in the game, please.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? Now we're going to bring it back to committee. Does the committee have any questions of staff?
The uplands that you refer to that are developable, do they run do they transect the property? Is it the higher green areas or?
The southerly portion, there was an audit provided to us from the nominator.
We're unfortunately past that. I'm sorry. So, Christopher, if you look at it, and James, you probably can say it. You see where the green is?
Yeah, I do, and I see another.
Yeah, it runs pretty much the southerly length of the property, right in that area, yeah.
Okay, because I see some additional kind of greenage that is a little bit further north, and I wondered if that is potentially developable as well.
Looking at the audit that was provided is not.
Okay.
I do have a question for whoever, Emily or you guys. Have we explored, as we have with everything else we've purchased on Sanibel, the cooperation with SCCF to take over and maintain this property once we purchase it?
That has not been explored yet. Okay. It would be something that would be further down the line.
And it wasn't part of the nomination.
Okay, I wasn't sure, because I remember when they brought BOCC and they brought the stuff up by the sanctuary, that was part of it when it came in, that they were going to take care of the the maintenance and everything of it. We were just purchasing it, and then they were taking care of it, so I just wasn't sure if that was discussed or not, so I want to ask that question. Carl?
Robert, there's roughly 35 acres. How much of that did you say is upland? How many acres?
About 30 acres of it.
Of uplands.
I'm sorry, about 30 acres of wetland, about 4.5 acres of upland area.
And that 30 acres, is that, how do those wetlands look? Are they high quality, low quality?
To address some of the comments that were brought up, we had staff go back and review the scoring, and staff has held to their scoring. So there's disturbance with buttonwood invasion is what I've been told. And, you know, I keep hearing comments of it's knee deep out there. So in those areas, those aren't going to be built on, to my knowledge.
Any other discussion?
I mean, I would just to follow up on the last comment that gentleman made. If one of the major stumbling blocks is the asking price, which you had brought up in your discussion, he's right. It's just the asking price. So if you go through this process, which I think would be a mistake not to at least pursue and ask these questions, and the appraised values, which we are not going to pay more than the appraised values, come in significantly lower, then that's a different topic. If the appraised value comes in close to that, then that tells me then it probably is suitable for perhaps more houses than we're giving it credit for, in which case I also think it would be appropriate to preserve it. So I think it would be a mistake not to at least pursue and ask those questions.
Someone would like to make a motion to move forward, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to move forward with investigating the possible purchase.
That was Christopher Robin that made the motion.
Second?
Seconded by Karen Andrews. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And raise your hands so we see.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So passes. All right. Going back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Spring. The next item is nomination 668, Buckingham, 13.12 acres with a score of 49. Clemens, please.
This is about a 13-acre tract of land in the Buckingham area. It's near the intersection of Buckingham Road and Cemetery Road. It's along the Orange River and adjacent to a county property. I think that's the Buckingham Community Park, or Buckingham Community Center. And the county owns some property on the east side along the river as well. This property scored 49 points, runs along the river like I previously said, and staff recommends to go forward or to forward this for acquisition consideration.
Any questions of Mr. Clemens on nomination 668, Buckingham, 13.12 acres? Anyone on the committee have any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll go to public comment. Please, when I call your name, come forward. State your name for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak. The first is Mr. Bill Berdetti. That's an inside joke. Followed by Phil Maylard.
The name is Bill Burdett. I'm from Buckingham. And I just wanted to comment on the review of this by staff and looking at the photos that were included with that. The observations were from the roadside of the property. The real value of this property is the interior and the shoreline, the extensive shoreline on the Orange River. And I observe that on a daily basis. As far as the ratings regarding native plant cover, On the shoreline area of it, there is bald cypress, there's leatherback fern, there's swamp crinums, soapberry, there's Tapensis orchids, a lot of the stuff that the staff wouldn't have seen from the road. Also, there's a tributary from the Orange River that goes towards the Buckingham Community Center, which is a historic site. The major portion, according to the water quality portal, the major portion of that property is wetland, wetland scrub, and wetland forest, are the dominant plant categories on the property. Also, as far as wildlife goes, again, along the shoreline is where you see the wildlife, and there are manatees, there are alligators, there are otters on a regular basis on the property, as well as all your familiar snakes, water birds, bats. And as far as recreation potential goes, which was kind of downplayed in the ratings or the review, there are people kayak fishing daily along the shoreline here. There are paddle boarders. Where you've got an existing park there at the community center in the northeast corner of the property, you know, a simple footpath trail into the center of this property, and you've got environmental education, you've got nature study, you've got photography. You have all of these other things that are desirable according to the criteria. That said, I would recommend that you give this strong consideration for acquisition. It would be a wonderful property to add to the preserves. Thank you. Oh, I did take a couple of photographs today of the river shoreline that, oh, there you go, yeah. Because that shows you really the,
Thank you.
yeah, that shows the pretty side of the property. Thank you.
Thank you. Phil Maylard, followed by Don Blackburn.
Philippe Maillard, I am with the Buckingham Association also. I make a presentation for you, and I'm sure you have also. And I'm feeling like the score was very low comparatively to what it should be. As you can see, you have probably around the water, you have more to 50% of the border of the property are on the water. So I did not see any point for that. I did not see nothing. I don't know if you see, you have one map. You can see the water, how it go in here. Also, actually, on the roadside, just next to it, you have the water monitoring for see how good is the water. You do not take care. Of course, you have the old school. Actually, it's one of the first school from Lee County. Actually, it was before it was Lee County, and I'm expecting to get some stuff. And yes, according to your picture, we see you have nobody go inside, but it's. I posted some video. I go with a drone on it, and you have lot of wildlife too. We do not see it on your stuff, on your presentation. Also, if you look on your review, how you review the FLUCFC, if you go to the and half of the property is marked as this, so you can see to have value of that. I guess it's about it. And I don't know. Yes, and also if you go to the community center, to the old school, you can see actually the bonnet bat who are in there. So I think it's part of one of your point of review, and it did not get marked as this. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Don Blackburn is the last card that I have, so if anyone else would care to speak, please be prepared to come forward shortly.
My name is Don Blackburn, here representing the Buckingham Community Association. I just wanted to start off by saying that this property lies within the Rural Community Preserve, which is the only official rural community preserve in Lee County. So obviously, if any property comes up for preservation, we're all for it. And, but I wanted to specifically talk about the stormwater benefit that this property has. You know, with all the very sad news around the country of the horrific flooding that's taken place and the history of the Orange River flooding, you know, very bad, and people that live along the river can tell you that. I think it's important that any time we have a piece of property like this that actually contributes to the storage of river flooding be preserved. So I would hope that when you all go back in your discussions, you would try to add a little more weight to that aspect of it, to try to keep the people that live along these riverways, and because everybody that lives along the riverways, they're always concerned about flooding, especially with the ongoing news and that you hear from around the country. If the property was not to be preserved, it would be allowed, somebody could build a house in there, and they could build a barn, and they would be adding fill into to parts of it, not all of it, and there would be a process to go through to do that. But it would be taking away some of the storage that it holds naturally. And when you do that, when you encroach on that with that, what you're doing is you can raise the elevation of the river upstream a little bit. Now, it might be a little bit, an insignificant amount even, some people would say. But if you add up all these little insignificant amounts from other properties, you know, sooner or later it turns into a larger problem. So I just would hope that when you do your discussions, you add some more weight to the stormwater benefit that this property would have in the protection of the homeowners that live along it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would anyone else care to speak on nomination 668, Buckingham, 13.12 acres? If so, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Thoughts or comments from the committee? Mr. Spring.
I'll make a motion to move forward for acquisition.
We have a motion by Mr. Spring to move forward number 668, recommendation. Second. We have a second by Mr. Sun. Any discussion? Opposition? That carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item are some staff updates. As you know, we often, and thank all the folks in the audience for coming, we, every meeting, try to go through some of the management activities that the county is doing, the staff is doing on all of our behalf for the tax dollars that we've all put forward to acquire properties and manage them. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Young to give us an idea of what's been going on. So if you get a chance, hang around and listen to some of it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mac Young with Lee County Parks and Recreation. I want to highlight some of our work that our national coordinators are doing on some of our preserves. They're doing trail maintenance and trimming and cleaning hiking trails and prepping the lines for summer burns. Caloosahatchee Creek Preserve East Trail improvement projects to add boardwalks and over low water crossing areas continues. Photos can be found on our website, the Conservation 2020 social media page on our county website. You can look at some photos on that. Caloosahatchee Creek Preserve East 200 acres exotic project has started this month. Perry Pines Preserve 282 acres exotic treatment finishing up this month. Bob James Preserves phase 1 of the Gopher Tortoise relocation site has been completed. Coordinators are doing planning in the area for this week. Alva Scrubs Preserves 288 acres exotic treatment starting this month. Big Hickory Islands Preserve 16 sea turtles nests documented this season, 7 on Lee County Preserves property. West March Preserves, the coordinators are placing 4 benches along the trails this month. Cow Slough Preserve, 24 acres mitigation area, exotic treatment started this month. 6 Mile Cypress Reserve North, new electric gate has been installed to better overnight security. St. Carlos Bay Bunch Beach, CLASAC member Shane and his group, they went over and did some work. We appreciate that, Shane. You guys did some cleanup on July 12th, so thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
There wasn't enough trash.
But we appreciate you guys doing it. Thank you so much. Wild Turkey Strand Preserve, 8 acres exotic treatment starting this month also. Our 2020 program was nominated for the Florida Wildlife Corridor Foundation Sanibel Award, Sable Award. The program was awarded a choice award in the land management category. We were awarded $3,000 grant to support our ongoing conservation efforts. So shout out to our conservation guys for doing that. And Emily's here today. She's going to talk about 4 different preserves that we received a grant from, and she's going to talk about that.
Emily Gear, I work for Lee County Parks and Recreation. I'm a natural areas planner, with Lee County Parks and Recreation. And for the past year, starting last July, we have been working with the National Park Service, their Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program, to come up with the 4 recreational concept plans that you'll see before you on the screen and on the papers. We worked with this team to create these concepts, to do minimally, invasive recreational work on these different preserves. Several of them are not, or one of them is not open, 2 of them, excuse me, are not open to the public right now with access from our properties. And then 2 of them are things that we're just adding additional recreational aspects to. So quickly you can see on the screen is 4 Mile Cove Preserve. So we do have some pedestrian access to this preserve already, but this would just enhance the recreational aspects that we could be seen at this preserve. We would be adding an additional trailhead area, so just more signage. It would still remain pedestrian access just due to limits on parking availability. And then we would be adding more designated trail system, and more seating areas, and a kayak landing area on the northeast of the preserve. So those are kind of the main highlights of this location. And then the next one, I'm not sure what's going to come up next, is Oak Hammock Preserve. So this is one of our newer acquisitions that we just acquired a few years ago. It is not open to the public yet, but hopefully with these concept plans, we would be able to move forward with getting some recreational access over the next few years. It would mainly be adding a parking area as well as a trailhead area, and then using a lot of the existing cattle trails that are out there as our trail system. Incorporating an educational signage and seating areas, pavilions near the trailhead area to just allow more public access into this preserve. Next would be Pine Lake Preserve. This is also a preserve that is open to the public currently. We do not have our own designated parking area. The parking is at the YMCA across the street. But this concept plan shows the potential for a small parking area, as well as just enhancing what is already out there. So we already have a trail system. This would just enhance the educational aspect, as well as adding a little bit more seating along the trail system. And then the last preserve is West Marsh Preserve. So this is another preserve that we do not have public access to on yet. The only way to get to it is through Harns Marsh Preserve, which is owned by LAMSID. So this would be creating our own public access with a parking area and trailhead. The trails are already out there that were put in with the LAMSID project that was done. So again, just enhancing those trails, adding seating areas, adding educational signage, and then adding a area with some pavilions and overlooks into the water area. So that's what we had been working on with the National Park Service for the last year. We just recently presented these to the senior committee or senior team here at Lee County, and hope to use these concept plans moving forward to enhance the preserves in our area.
Yeah, I also want to add too with this, it saved the county a lot of money for getting this grant through that program. And these guys did a phenomenal job coming in and doing it.
Yeah, working with the National Park Service, it was completely free to us to get all of these concepts done. It is a free service that they offer through this Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program. We were brought to them through FEMA after Hurricane Ian when we just didn't have the staff availability and time to move forward with this trail expansion and through these different preserves.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments, Emily and Mac? Thank you all very much. Thank you for that information on what's been going on and some of the plans that you have going on. Those are pretty neat looking concept plans, and I think it'll be a great benefit to the citizens. Thank you all very much. Any questions? Mr. Sun.
Chair, a comment that is not specifically of CLASAC nature, but I did want to call out Mac and his team. I umpire high school baseball, and we here in Fort Myers hosted the Florida High School State Championships, and Mac's team did an amazing job with us hosting us at that facility. So I had the privilege to be on the field, which they do an amazing job maintaining, but also our association hosted other officials from across the state. So I just wanted to get that in on the record and congratulate him and his team for such great work.
We'll pass that along. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Sun. Any other comments? We're at the committee member items. Any other committee member items before we go to public comment? I have one I wanted to bring forward for y'all to think a bit about. Over the past months or so, we've had some items come through. Some are very small in terms of dollar amount. Some are very large. Like, for instance, the item earlier was at least an asking price. It was fairly large. Mr. Clemens, what dollar amount do we have in our acquisition fund?
Right now we have right at $19 million. We did have a large parcel close recently. That was the one in the Buckingham area of Staley and Orange River, and that was 10.5 million. So that's brought our funds down to the 19 million number.
All right, thank you. One of the things I was thinking about, I'm going to bring it up for you guys to comment on if you have any comments on it, and that is asking staff to look at these acquisitions and figure out how will we prioritize these. I mean, for instance, if we have one that's not as valuable but has a high price, should we consider something that has more environmental benefit but maybe has a similar or lower price? I don't know. But if I'd like to see, ask the staff to look into some way to how to prioritize what our acquisition strategy is and bring it back for us to look at so we can kind of get a feel for how they analyze these, because when we've got budget issues to deal with, we have to think about, all right, how do we get the biggest, if you will, bang for the buck? Mr. Clemens, what do you think about that?
I think we can do that. We did that, I think it was around 2009, 2012. Remember, we had a tier system on parcels as they came in, and things weren't necessarily locked. If a really good parcel came in, it could go to the top tier before those in the tier 2, so to speak. So it isn't uncommon.
Is that something, again, assuming the committee is agreeable, and we'll see if there's any comments that you could work on and bring back at a future meeting, maybe the next meeting or the meeting after that, whichever would be appropriate. Committee, what do y'all think about that? Mr. Rocco.
Robert, the 19 million, is that strictly acquisition money?
Just acquisition.
Okay, so that doesn't include any maintenance?
Correct.
Okay. Ron, I think that's a good idea. In the past, if you look at the scoring, a lot of times it doesn't relate to which direction we go in. And the parcel tonight at Sanibel, for instance, while there's a lot of merit, if it's 35 acres and someone developed it, there would probably be 30 acres in preservation. And that preservation would probably have to be owned, operated, maintained by whoever developed 5 acres. So is our money really right now today, while we're recovering from the last few years, we got to be really choosy and vigilant as to where we put that money. So that's a great idea if we have another way to vet the parcels.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl. Any other comments or thoughts on that, Karen?
Robert, how low are we allowed to go? I mean, I thought they were supposed to be replenishing our funds.
It is addressed in the ordinance when it hits a certain level that it would be replenished. However, all county departments are making cutbacks at this time. Every department has addressed no new hires, even though the demand on our services has increased. So it's across the board, the county is under financial pressure. So the ordinance says that it would be replenished. There's not a time requirement for that to be replenished, though.
I can't remember his name. I've known him a long time. They came and spoke to us about the, yes, Pete Whitten. And he was saying they keep replenishing us.
And they were, just this year, I mean, I know what my personal budget is. It is what it was. It's flat. Everybody is flat across the board in all departments. And any directors or people in any departments, we're all headed that same direction. You know, we went through, two major hurricanes, and we had these other flooding events, and, you know, the outer islands got hit really bad. Fort Myers Beach got hit hard, and there were effects up the Caloosahatchee River as well. So the county has some heavy demands on it. And, you know, we still had development and stuff coming through. So we have other departments like DOT that are trying to keep up with you know, the population growth we're experiencing. So, you know, it's not just 2020 that is under pressure. It is every department in the county.
I mean, that being said, the citizens did vote to increase the tax base at one point in the past for this purpose. And I understand that it was commingled with the general fund, but that's why I asked that gentleman the very question, what would that $500,000 that was commingled be worth today? And we all heard his answer. So I appreciate that there are pressures, but to not replenish this fund is not carrying out the will of the people in this county. Understanding the pressures.
Thank you all for those comments. Unless anyone disagrees, you might have your comments relative to budget issues. If you guys could come back with some kind of idea on how the county would deal with that, or some Mongo piece came through for, I'll make this up, some big number, what do we do? It'd be nice to know the management, county administration has thought about that and prepared to give us some kind of idea of what you think.
What will we do for the next meeting? We'll look at all the properties we have. We'll categorize them as to how we feel they would best be suited going forward, and let the committee reevaluate and give you all that listing.
Like, if I'm not wrong, the scoring for the area that I score is heavy on water quality. I do like the scoring for C, area C. So I don't know if there is that area. I don't know how much can be modified. Like, is it in a D map? Is it in present?
I don't think we're looking to modify anything. Just they are what they are. We go with the scoring we have and proceed in that manner. Yeah,
Mr. Sun?
I just wanted to ask, and I think we've discussed this before, but there's never a property not brought to this group just out of concern of cost, and staff recommendation is never solely based on cost. That is correct?
They get brought forward if they're nominated.
And so, Mr. Chair, if I may continue those comments, I think our job is to evaluate the property, and say a $30 million property comes before us, if we feel so strongly about it that we want to recommend to the county commissioners that they should explore this option, and that's our prerogative to vote that way. At the end of the day, they are the legislators. They control the funds, and that would be their job to secure the funding for that. We're just the voice of the citizens saying, yes, we think this is something you should explore. So I think that's just also important to keep in mind on this budgeting, because not only do we not have the control, but it's just not our place.
Thank you for that. Sounds like everyone's kind of on board for you guys to take a look at, so I'm anxious to see what you come back with. That'd be worth knowing. All right, the next item, any other committee items? Next item, our public comment section. We have one card. Anyone that cares to speak on any item, please come forward when there's time. Limited to 3 minutes. State your name for the record. Mr. Sweat. I think you got it. Unless I read it wrong.
My name's Nick Sweat for the record. And appreciate your time today. If this isn't the time or the place, please cut me off and I could speak to someone individually. This is about nomination 654. Just to refresh your memory about that one. You guys have already voted on this this is 100 acres in southeastern Lee County that borders the Corkscrew Audubon. Back to 2024, we submitted the application. You guys approved it to go to the board September 2024. Later September, the Board of County Commissioners approved negotiations. March, we ended those negotiations. On April 16th of this year, you guys unanimously approved recommending to the board that they proceed with the acquisition. We're supposed to be on the May 20th agenda for the Board of County Commissioners. May 16th, I got a phone call saying you guys are off the agenda, and I couldn't get an answer why. So just wanted to bring this up again. If this wasn't the time or the place, I apologize. Just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page. My sellers still want to sell. I know we've been talking about purchase price and stuff like that. I mean, the purchase price we are under right now, we are 30% lower than what the most recent comp is out there. So, I mean, I think there's a ton of value for what the county is going to purchase. So just wanted to kind of bring that to everyone's attention and see if we can get some kind of answers. All right, thank you.
Please come forward, sir. State your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Matt DePaulis representing SCCF. The conversation about providing extra valuation to provide kind of a hierarchy of acquisitions is really interesting. And I think that if we pursue that and if the staff undertakes that, I would challenge them to really expand what they're interpreting in their valuation of that land. I think that it's really important not just to look at what the value was that was previously prescribed and how that's going to kind of add up, but really take some real economic analysis. Look at the value of those ecosystem services that are contained within that land. I think there's great groundbreaking work that's being done that is allowing us to provide that valuation for ecosystem services in ways that we weren't able to do even 5 years ago. I think that the tourism draw of the land should absolutely factor into any valuation that's being done, how much money is coming back into the county by virtue of preserving that land. And I think that a really hard look should be taken at the amount of money that the county would have to spend if that land were to be developed and another storm like Ian were to come through. What would we be on the hook for as taxpayers for cleanup costs for that land? So I'm sure there's many more considerations that would go into any valuation like that, but those are 3 big ones that immediately jumped out to me listening to your conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that input. Would anyone else care to speak to the committee on any item? If so, please come forward. Seeing none, our next meeting date is the third Wednesday, August 20th at 5:30. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Someone would like to make it?
I make a motion.
Ms. Andrus and Mr. Spring both jumped on us. If one of the 2. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Nay. It carries. Thank you all very much.